The Octa research team says vaccinating the majority of Metro Manila's population will help us achieve the so-called herd immunity. The health department logs a record 400 new COVID-19 deaths on Friday. Metro Manila mayors are set to come up with a recommendation on whether to extend the stricter lockdown in NCR+. The United States reaffirms its mutual defense treaty with the Philippines in light of the continuing presence of Chinese ships in the West Philippine Sea. And in lighter news, today was a fairy tale for Swifties as Taylor Swift releases the re-recorded version of her 2008 album, Fearless. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Jess De Los Santos. The Octa research team stresses the need to vaccinate majority of Metro Manila's population to contain the spread of COVID-19. Greg Gregorio with the report.
The Octa research group says there may no longer be a need to vaccinate 70 million Filipinos to achieve herd immunity. In an interview with one who says the chiefs, Professor Guido David says the target can be trimmed down to 35 million. The catch, this number should include 75% of Metro Manila's population.
If we could get sufficient, maybe 5 million, 3 to 5 million vaccines in the NCR, malaking matutulong yan. Especially since NCR is the highest risk, it's also the economic center, and everything also goes through the NCR. So if we can control the surge in the NCR, and if we can prevent outbreaks in the NCR, essentially we'll be almost preventing outbreaks in other regions.
The health department says they are studying Octa's suggestion.
What we are trying to achieve right now and our basic objective is for us to reduce deaths. Kaya nga po, ang ating prioritization is naka-base on the vulnerable, no? Yung healthcare workers, senior citizens, yung ating mga taong may comorbids, the essential workers. Kasi dun base sa pag-aaral, if you vaccinate these individuals and mauna sila, maprotektahan natin sila, it can avert this number of deaths, no, in the population.
Official data show that the country has administered more than 922,000 doses of vaccines so far. Only around 50,000 have received the complete 2 doses. The Food and Drug Administration says those who have gotten their first AstraZeneca shot will receive the second dose in a month or 2. This will give them ample time to review the Oxford-made jab's possible link to extremely rare brain blood clot effects on some vaccinees in Europe.
So yung pong WHO actually nag-email na ng mga data sa akin, hindi ko palang nabasa. Yung pong NAFIC natin ay kinausap ko na rin po kahapon para hingin ang kanilang mga opinion at rekomendasyon. At yung vaccine expert panel din po, hiningan ko na kahapon ng kanilang recommendations so that we can put all of this together and within the next week, magbigay tayo ng guidance.
The DOH also notes that on-hand supplies of AstraZeneca shot have been exhausted, with the next shipment expected by the end of April. As of now, the country is using Sinovac's CoronaVac shots, which have been recently allowed for use on senior citizens. For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
The health department reports over 12,200 fresh COVID-19 infections. That brings the country's caseload to above 840,000, some 178,000 of which are still considered active. The number of new fatalities stand at a record high of 401, bringing the death toll to more than 14,500. Some 647,000, meanwhile, have gotten better from the disease, with 946 new survivors reported today. More stories after this short break. Stay with us. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Jess De Los Santos. The Labor Department is looking to hire 14,000 additional contact tracers as COVID-19 infections continue to rise. Jenny Dongon has a story.
Since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, health experts have time and again emphasized the crucial role of contact tracing in containing the virus. And now that we're seeing a spike in cases, the government is scrambling to meet the demand for contact tracers. Hannah Catameo, who has been a contact tracer for 9 months now, admits that her job is not easy. One problem is the dishonesty of some close contacts.
Usually po, hindi po sila nagkaka-cooperate, then hindi po sila nagpapaano sa bahay, nagbibigay din po ng info since ayaw po nila. Privacy daw po nila yon. Nakaka-affect po siya kasi parang meron po kaming missing part sa line list po namin na hindi po namin bibigay. Hindi po namin napupuntahan kung sino po yung mga close contacts nila, hindi po namin na-endorse. If ever po taga-ibang city yung close contacts nila, hindi po namin na bibigay yung info para mapuntahan din po ng ibang seso.
She says even contact tracing forms in establishments are not exactly helpful as some still don't take it seriously.
Naglagay po ng pangalan ng artista, pangalan ng characters, ganun po. So, parang saan po namin nahanapin po yun, di ba?
On the average, from February 28 to March 29, the contact ratio in the Philippines was cut down to 1:3 from 1:7. This means that each tracer was only able to reach 3 close contacts of a positive case. This is far from the ideal urban setting, which should be between 1:30 and 1:37 ratio. According to the World Health Organization, the ideal contact tracing ratio should be 1:800. At such a rate, which more or less 100 million people in the Philippines, we need to have 135,000 contact tracers, a far cry from the 15,000 rehired by the Interior Department as of January this year. For its part, the Labor Department has been assisting the LGUs in hiring contact tracers, especially in NCR, a COVID-19 hotspot. The agency targets to hire 14,000 displaced workers as contact tracers for a month under the TUPAD or Tulong Panghanap Buhay sa mga displaced workers.
Kailangan lang naman po ng ating contact tracers ay merong basic knowledge sa paggamit ng telepono at sa paggamit po ng internet.
Trivilla adds that the program will help provide a temporary living for displaced, underemployed, and seasonal workers. Once hired, tracers will be given modules to properly communicate with close contacts. Hired tracers are expected to earn more than 500 pesos a day under the program. For News 5, Jenny Dongon, We Are One News.
Here are other stories we're keeping our eyes on. Metro Manila mayors are expected to vote today on whether the NCR Plus should remain under an enhanced community quarantine next week. MMDA Chairman Benhur Abalos says the IATF will decide on the matter on Saturday. The Agriculture Department suggested retail price on imported pork products takes effect today, replacing the price cap on local produce. Pork from abroad is now set at 270 pesos per kilo for Kasim and 350 pesos per kilo for Liempo. And Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Locsin Jr. spoke with U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken over the phone. The DFA says they reaffirmed the importance of working closely to enhance the Mutual Defense Treaty in light of China's aggression in the West Philippine Sea. It's a trip down memory lane for Swifties as Taylor Swift released her re-recorded 2008 album, Fearless. Fearless, Taylor's version, features 26 songs, including 6 unreleased ones. Swift said she decided to include songs that almost made the 2008 album to give her fans the full experience of it. 2 songs from The Vault also featured country artists Keith Urban and Maren Morris. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News Live anytime, anywhere. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I'm Jess De Los Santos. We are One News.